Steph. And that's Bob. And today we're looking at failed car inventions to find an answer to the age-old question.
What the hell are they thinking?
Beats me. Let's see that first clip.
Saab.
Wow. Okay, I like that. I really like that.
It's history. And not because Saab is out of business.
That is so sick. Why don't we have that now?
What happened was the windshield take two, the headlight wipers were an EU regulation.
Why?
Because it snowed a lot and somebody said headlight wipers are a good idea. If you look very carefully on the left-hand side at the top, it has a washer nozzle.
Oh,
see it?
that little guy right up there.
Spurting juice all over the headlight. But they went away because what they found was they were mechanically complex. Brought a lot of cost. And what you see now in a lot of cars, you'll see next to the headlight a little round thing which pops up, and they have high-pressure washers that do the exact same thing.
And that's what I've seen now with Audis, you know, BMWs. You see them a lot now.
And they just basically displace the wipers.
I like
Remember,
this invention.
this came from Scandinavia, and even though it's not a Scandinavian country, it's next door, Finland. Finland has a wonderful washer fluid. And look this up, everybody. Google this when you have a chance. It's called Super Piss Blue.
Are you me right now, Bob?
I am not joking.
Super Piss Blue.
Super Piss Blue.
Does it look like piss?
No, but it's blue and it's pretty super.
All right.
There you go.
Super Piss Blue.
It's great stuff, I tell you. Well, as we just saw with that finished product, I think this one we're going to piss off and go to the next clip.
Well said. I actually love pop-up headlights. I love the little Miata wink that goes on. It's like their own form of communication. Whoa.
That was one of my faves.
That one's cool. The one that rotates and the other one is cool.
You know, to do that, you have to have somebody in the car doing this, because they were crank up with little cranks at each side of the dashboard.
Are you serious? What? Is that why it's going up so slow?
Yeah, it was probably the first production car with retractable headlights, pop-up headlights. Pop-up headlights are interesting.
Why don't we have them anymore?
When we got the new conformal headlights that started appearing, they made the need for pop-ups no longer a need, because you could design headlights, not obsolete, but pop-ups brought, and the reason I was not a fan of putting pop-ups on the Miata, to be absolutely honest, was it was additional weight and complexity. And I was real heavy into keeping this thing light and such.
Yeah.
But one of the issues in the bad old days was, particularly for North America, the headlight center. There's a minimum height for the center of the headlight to the ground.
Really?
Yeah, and unless you had these big frog eyes on a Miata, the only way you could do it and keep the car looking good was pop-ups. That's fine, okay. What's happened now is they can make these conformal headlights that can be almost flush with the body, it can be almost any shape. So the pop-ups have kind of outlived their usefulness.
They phased out slowly.
Yeah.
All right, let's pop into that next clip.
Have you ever been caught in a traffic jam and wished you had wings?
Aero car.
Away from it all? Well, you're not the only one. But Moulton Taylor of Longview, Washington did something about it.
Yes.
He designed and built the Aero car. Conversion takes but a few minutes. No more trouble than changing a tire, and a lot more fun. Wings assembled, the pusher prop in the tail raring to go. Likewise, the
That is a lot more trouble than changing a tire.
Traffic woes behind us and try that wild blue yonder. The Aero car is at home on highways or skyways.
So you just drive this to a runway and then you take off?
That's it. And then when you land, it folds up and it makes a little trailer, a big trailer that follows around. It's great. Yeah, it's great. There's a lot of talk about flying cars. And it goes back before the war.
Really?
The guys were experimenting with it. A company that built bombers during World War II called Consolidated Vultee, called Convair. They even built one, a big airplane manufacturer called the Convair car. Aerocar was kind of it wasn't a one-off. He built a handful of them. But all these flying cars have had the same problem.
Which is?
They're bloody expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
I can imagine.
And quite frankly, they're not very good cars. And then you put the planes on, they're not very good planes. And so for a little bit more than that money, you can buy a really good, nice used car and a really good, nice used plane.
There you go.
So the other factor with them is, and a lot of guys talking about flying cars now, and autonomy might change things. But until it does, you have to have a pilot's license to fly a plane.
Would you trust me in the cockpit? flight simulator, all right? All right, let's fly into the next clip, Bob.
Yeah, I think so, before this one crashes.
Called the Wrist Twist steering control.
Mercury Twist wrist, it's amazing.
Mercury by
I've actually seen this
Bob
before.
Rump, who is ready to send the car off with a driver who promises to be about as non-technical as they come. Getting
What does that
in
mean?
is easy enough.
She's a woman?
Manipulation of the steering wheel means additional room that is mighty important on entry and exit. Although the appearance may seem startling at first, the Wrist Twist steering control takes very little practice to get used to. Since only a light touch is necessary, the arms may rest solidly on the supports, just like in your favorite easy chair.
That was an interesting setup that Ford came up with.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, the system was kind of interesting if you saw it. It had these two little wheels, and there was a chain connecting them to the actual steering column.
Okay.
Okay? Obviously, you had to have power steering with it.
He said it just takes a slight touch. Imagine no power steering.
Yeah, exactly.
You're breaking your wrist.
It was one of these things that was developed, I suspect, for publicity purposes. Somebody came up with the idea, and they tested it and wanted to see if there was enough feedback to keep going on it. And it truly was the answer to a question nobody asked.
What are you talking about? It's so easy for a woman to drive.
That's true. That's true.
I think this is a cool concept, but I can see why it didn't go into production, and I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, I think we need to twist to a new clip.
This next clip features a two-wheeled car that uses gyroscopic stabilization to stay upright.
Ford Gyron! Ford Gyron! Hang on. Jimmy,
Bob?
the Gyron is going to be on YouTube.
What? I've never heard of it before.
It's great.
What are you talking
And
about?
let's see it in action.
Okay, I gotta go by.
Bob? Bob?
Oh, it's not the Ford Gyron.
What the hell is that?
It's an attempt to do a Ford Gyron.
Ew. That looks so ugly.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, this had one advantage over the Ford Gyron.
Which is?
This could actually be driven. The Ford Gyron was a pushmobile.
Gross. Gross. This looks uglier than a Beamer clown shoe.
That's ugly.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely takes the cake. Look at that long snout. Is that for stabilization? Why is it so long? That's what she said.
Dog's
Sorry.
balls.
Dog's balls.
Because
All
they
right.
can. No, I suspect that it's so long, that's where the space is for the gyroscope.
Oh.
Gyroscope is this spinning gizmo, usually has a relatively heavy flywheel.
Okay.
And when you spin a gyroscope, let's say have little kids' toys, this gizmo, which has like a center post and the gyroscope and maybe a ring, if you put it down, it can stand on that one point.
Okay.
And if you push it, it will always try to go upright.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a stability issue.
I've seen cups like that.
They used gyroscopes the longest time in autopilot systems and such because they would establish where it was right, up and down, left and right. Okay. Ford, and we got to pump this up, Tony. We need a photo of the Ford Gyron. It's where this insanity started. This is the Ford Gyron. Monstrosity, nothing. That
one looks cooler than the other one.
That's what we will all be driving.
That looks way cooler. I wouldn't mind driving that.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it didn't drive.
Okay. Well, I don't want to drive it.
There was a period of time in the 50s when Ford's engineering department, I think, was experimenting with drugs. Okay.
Love that.
And they came up with all kinds of
Ford
stuff.
department.
This was this idea for this car of the future that had two main wheels, these little stabilizer wheels that came out. And once it got the gyroscope going, it would just stay. Now, it does raise the question, why? Okay.
Dog's balls.
Well, yeah, dog's balls, exactly right. Some guy said. And the other one, to me, that was a real factor is you're bringing along the weight of a gyroscope, which, because of the definition this flywheel has in it, on a large car would have to be pretty bloody heavy.
Yeah,
Okay?
I imagine.
And it didn't drive. It was a pushmobile. They just shoved it around to the motor shows, and they put it in a special stand, and they could make the little wheels retract. Say, oh, look, it's stabilized. Yeah, right.
Get this monstrosity out of my face. I want to see this next clip.
New cars getting bigger
seen
and parking
this.
spaces getting smaller. At Piedmont, California, an inventor has developed something to soothe the motorist's headache by putting the spare tire to work. He calls this device the park car and says it can be installed on any model. Watch how it works. Taking power from the drive shaft, the spare tire swings the rear end into the clear. Then he just retracts the spare, backs into the street, and away we go.
That looks like it would be helpful, but I can see so many people like just pulling out as you're driving past, and that's gonna cause accidents. I also see that being a lot of like new mechanical issues being brought up.
I'm very embarrassed to see this with a California license plate on.
Why is that, Bob?
I'm
Why?
overwhelmed with shame. It is interesting to see make an attempt to make something the size of a Cadillac more maneuverable. Okay.
Yeah.
But I've seen other ones where they have wheels at front and rear, and the car can do this going in and out.
I've seen that one too.
Which, if you're going to add the mechanical complexity, it would probably make it a little bit easier. If this guy has that much trouble parking the car, you know what he should be doing?
Driving.
No, he should have owned a Hudson Jet, and not a Cadillac.
Yeah.
And then, hey, it'll fit in smaller parking spaces. Another plus. I think I'm tired of this.
We're tired. Let's see the next clip.
These little levers on the doors are to seal everything off completely. It's time to head for the water. And once he's in, he'll put it in neutral and engage the propellers using this stick.
Where's the propellers?
You can see them in the rear view.
Driving a car into the water. It's floating. It's floating.
I like that. I swim. I swim too. I swim a lot sometimes.
Christoph simply can't believe it.
What an interesting thing. I mean, I've heard about boat cars.
You could buy these out here in California.
You can?
You could when they first came out.
Okay.
Okay. It's about, I want to say it was early 60s. Of course, they had German quality with English engines. Now,
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
you're buying half of a decent pastry.
How high the water is on the side of that gets me a little anxious.
Yeah, the Amphicar, 6.5 knots. It's about 7.5 miles per hour.
Doesn't sound very
No,
fast.
and on the road, I think it topped out at about 65 or 70.
Trash.
It didn't do anything you and I would recognize as handling. This suffers from the exact same disease as the flying car. It's real expensive, and for the same money, you can buy a nice little boat and a nice little car.
I would love to just drive into a lake and not die.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of nice.
Regardless how well or poorly it worked, okay, you've sunk a lot of money into it. Kill me! Kill me!
Let's swim into that next clip, Bob.
Oh,
Is that like to know how far back to park?
no, it's the earliest bumpers, collapsible bumpers, that ultimately did it. And now
What was the purpose of it?
there's a regulation in the United States on bumpers. And the original standard was written, the car had to hit a barrier at 5 miles per hour with no damage to the vehicle and lighting systems.
Wow.
And they still have them.
What?
The regulation was changed. They just got better at it. So now they don't stand out. Mazda's first attempt at it. 74 Mazda RX-4 had these things looked vaguely like chrome-plated railroad ties bolted to the front of the car. They were well and truly fugly. A lot of companies struggled with this bumper standard. And as time went on, they've gotten used to it. Now, the U.S. standard is officially now 2.5 miles per hour, no damage. Or
Gotcha.
5 miles per hour with a damage threshold. Having said that, probably most of the cars built are still 5 miles per hour. And the reason is the Canadian standard stayed 8 kilometers per hour, 5 miles per hour. It didn't get wound down like the U.S. one did. So it's just easier to make one for everybody and not split parts of
absolutely.
it. But the safety bumper's been on for years. It's just they're better at hiding them, okay?
I kind of like that. I mean, I could see how that could be beneficial for some people that don't know how to park.
Next clip, please. 300 SL.
Tesla does that.
Just
Oh,
works
wait, Tesla does not do that.
Seamlessly, so solid, absolutely.
Well, I mean, the rear
cool.
doors
One
do
of the
that.
cool tricks about this car to get into the car is that you can pop this like so, and the steering wheel folds up. Now, not gonna do the job right now because the wheel is turned. So if that's straight, it allows you to actually make some room for the driver to get in and out. Not necessarily a quick release on off, but a tilt.
I mean, the steering wheel doesn't build you too much space, but I guess someone with small legs could get in there.
It gives you space with the legs.
Yeah.
But again, the other thing is, this is very typical of the era, because we're talking, and of course, not the power steering was something the Germans would ever say they needed, but because it was a non-assisted control, it's really big. And that's the thing you find with old American cars, the wheels were huge.
Yeah.
Because they had to be. Gull-wing doors are another story, and we have to do this. Would you like us to do something on gull-wing doors in a future version of this cast? We'd be happy to do it. If you let us know down in those, the comments there. Where are they? Yeah, there they are. Hey, Ralph, stop that.
Ralph's everywhere gonna be commenting, oh my God, I'm sorry, Bob.
Sorry, Ralph. You did a good job.
Designers and engineers are always looking for new types of fuel to invent game-changing cars. Engineers at Ford in the 1950s noticed that nuclear reactors were getting small enough to fit in boats. So why not put a nuclear reactor inside a car?
The Ford Nucleon, a car powered by a small nuclear reactor. This vision captured the post-war American fixation on convenience, as it promised a driving range of over 5,000 miles between fuel stops. However, like many mid-century nuclear fantasies,
look how crazy that, like such a crazy design.
It had to get you away from the reactor.
Really?
Well, it didn't really matter because it never got past the 3/8 scale model.
Okay.
And I mean, if you have to talk about nucleons, okay, the two that come to mind are this one, and then Nucleon the monster in the movie Johnny Sacco and His Giant Robot. And the Nucleon monster was a lot more realistic, okay?
Then this guy, I believe that.
Nucleon, destroy Tokyo!
Yeah, this just doesn't seem like a plausible idea. I mean, just thinking about the nuclear reactor, the weight itself.
You have to have a medium in the reactor, and water is a good one because it's readily available. But the volume needed would be, you have to be hauling a freight train of tank cars.
It's so unpractical on so many levels. They were definitely high-ish for this.
Yeah.
Now, despite the insanity of the Nucleon, it has not stopped wannabe entrepreneurs today from chasing another radioactive fuel. Let's take a look.
A company known as Laser Power Systems believes that they can create a car that runs on something known as thorium. So let me tell you how it would work.
What the hell is that?
To the company, because thorium is so dense, it has the potential to produce tremendous amounts of heat. The company has been experimenting with small bits of thorium, creating a laser that heats water, produces steam, and powers a mini turbine. Just 1 gram of the substance yields more energy than 7,396 gallons of gasoline, and 8 grams would power the typical car for a century.
Thorium is actually being looked at, and the Indians are well ahead on this in nuclear reactors. The benefit is it's less radioactive and has fewer problems in terms of if you have a failure. It's a lot less dangerous.
How do you think this would transcribe in a car?
Thorium is a fascinating material being studied for reactors, but it's not at the stage, I think, where 8 grams of thorium, because of the heat it generates. Again, you need shielding or need something where the thorium reactor is a mile and a half behind you. So there are considerations of that very seldom considered term, practicality.
Don't you get Thor over this. Let's just get into that next clip then.
1949 Cadillac. No, that's a later one.
What the hell is that?
The fuel cap.
There's a fuel cap?
Gas cap hidden away.
You press the reflector.
What the hell? That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's actually so cool. Imagine you have a really jealous ex-girlfriend and she wants to throw sugar down your gas tank.
She'd go crazy looking for the damn filler.
Yeah, she would. That's crazy ex-girlfriend proof.
There was a lot of fuel filler hiding that's taken place. Some of them we don't remember. Some are behind in the bad old days, before safety bumpers, okay?
Okay.
Behind a license plate. A number of cars had plates you could pull down and the filler was right back there. And it was a logical position because it was the center of the car, which is convenient. Which side did you pull in on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, hidden gas fillers are not that uncommon. When Cadillac did the fins in '49, it gave them an opportunity to look at something else. And they were able to put it in such a way you didn't have to worry about pulling the license plate down.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was it. But it's kind of gone away for a number of reasons, not the least of which is logical places to hide them. It's real hard to hide the door.
I bet.
Real hard to hide the door.
I mean, you got a Camry. Where the hell is that thing being hidden?
Wouldn't work for everything.
Let's go ahead and see that next clip. What the hell kind of car is that?
Chrysler.
Whoa.
Please fasten your seatbelt.
Gross. I don't like that. I'm sure you've seen this, Bob, with like modern cars when it lowers your music and intensifies the beeping for your seatbelt.
I don't know where that's such a bad idea.
Yeah, the talking cars didn't last long. It speaks with a classic, what we used to call a mechanical accent, okay?
Please fasten your seatbelts.
Oh, he was built at the Clark Motors factory. Yes, I recognize that accent anywhere. Yeah. But having said that, isn't that instrument cluster spectacular?
Dude, yeah, that is so sick. I thought, like, I had no idea what this was, but that is a beautiful instrument cluster.
That looks so much like the display screen on my Betamax, you know?
All right, click here if you guys want to see Bob show me some of the weirdest and wackiest boomer car fails. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Gokigenyo, sayonara! Oh!